Today on Financial Friday, the right headspace. I'm going to go into why you have to stop thinking in dollars, pounds, euros. You have to stop. So we're going to get into that today, and if time permits, I'm going to get Lynn involved here too, okay? Because we have to start thinking only in pesos. Because we'll get into that. Okay guys, I go into this a fair amount, but honestly, how could you interpret what the cost of things are and what your currency is doing if you're living in a different country, or your goal is to live in a different country? Even between Canada and the United States, you just can't compare. It's apples and oranges, okay? A McDonald's burger here is not the same as a McDonald's burger in the States. Boy, I can keep going down the list here, but the main reason you have to start thinking in pesos is that is the static level. Sure, there's inflation there, but putting all that aside, things like your rent are going to be pretty static, okay, over if you have a one-year contract and your rent is going to be 5,000 pesos a month, static, okay? So you can't compare that when you consider that the currency rates, because this is what we're all talking about here, and the ticker's running, is those rates are going up and down. And I've gone back and I've looked at a number of vloggers, and one I'm going to point to who also mentioned to it was Pirate Cove in the Philippines. He also said the same thing. You gotta be thinking in pesos, okay? Not only just for the vlogger, because the vlogger, I run the ticker here, but you know, we can't translate everything into every currency. But that's not the main point. As he pointed out as well, because he's lived there long enough, and I pointed out this numerous times too, the US dollar used to be 40. And Canada and the US right now are riding on brutally high highs, like 25-year highs. We're running on those lines right now. And you know, there's a lot of speculation that the US and the Canada could make new 25-year highs. And that could be. But to what degree? It's going to be little bits. As a person who used to trade, if this was a major pair, because we never traded in the minor pairs, but if this was a major pair like the Euro US or the Euro Pound or the US Pound, if we were trading in one of those, we would be running away from what the US Canada to Philippines is showing right now, because it's banging so hard on these ultimate highs. So could it crawl through? Yes. But if I'm a trader, I'm looking for it to go down because I want to make money going down. And again, I want to drive this home. My whole purpose behind going through the currencies is not to expound trading, but to understand the cycles and making sure that we put our heads in the right space. And the major part of that right space, you got to be thinking in pesos. You just have to. And the other thing that you have to get your head wrapped around is once you start living in the Philippines, you're going to start going, oh my God, this is more than it is in the States. This is more than Australia. What is going on with the Philippines? Now, what you need to do is get your buddy that's still living in your native country to drive down and take a picture of the menu board, because I guarantee you, it went up in your native country as well, and run into that a lot. Now, a little sidebar here, I want to point to a series of videos that Paul, Old Dog New Tricks, if you look up his videos, and I'll link one of his at the end. I think this one's important. This unfortunate fellow came to the Philippines. He saw all this stuff about all this garbage, and I'm going to keep calling it garbage. You can live on $500 pay or $500 a month. Oh, guys, please. Okay. That's a really, really rare person. Okay. Now, I don't know what this guy came over with, but they had to raise money within their community to send this guy back home to get his ducks in order. Now, he's got 2 babies and a wife to support at the same time, so he's going to be sending money back. That means his stretch of time in his native country is going to be a little longer to get all this stuff sorted out, right? Now, it's very, very important, guys. I mean, this guy was so close to being where I have seen foreigners before, which is sleeping on the sidewalk. I'm not kidding you. And I know I sound harsh and everything in some of these talks. But if one of you does not go and actually put your house in order, as it were, before going, you're going to be a lot better off. You need to have that nest egg. Okay, Lynn and I will do an update on the SRRV regarding its use for medical. It is a little bit more stringent, but according to the consulate and according to a couple of other vloggers, it is possible to tap that cash. Okay, it will at least, and I know for sure, others have flashed their SRRV card and gotten into the hospital. Now, whether, like in our Western countries, they can tap that account, like put a lien on it or whatever your country might call it, that those funds, when they're withdrawal, will pay the bill. Okay, I don't know. Okay, but the bottom line is at least you can get into the hospital. That's been confirmed through the consulate. Okay, now applying to get that money to pay the bill, hopefully you've got side savings, and all the more reason why I keep talking about you have to have the side savings. Okay, because one way or another, the government or the hospital wants their money, right? Okay, so let's get Lynn involved here. Filipinos and their food.
Food is life.
The rice is life, but not all food.
Why rice, Dere?
It's not fair. She eats like a whatever and looks like a chipmunk. Okay, so Lynn, we've been talking about currencies and the Philippine peso.
Yeah.
So if you're in Canada, though, do you translate what it costs for a sandwich? Do you translate what your rent is and everything into pesos?
Of course not. It's too much too.
I think you need to move a little further this way.
Yeah, of course not. I don't think, like, if you are buying in Canadian dollars, you don't need to translate it into peso because you're living in Canada. Unless you're in the Philippines, of course, if you have payables there.
I know I used to do a lot of this stuff, guys. Now I keep that number in my head, 40 for Canadian, 50 for a US dollar. And so I keep that in my head only when I'm looking at import product, because I want to know how much more I'm paying than if I bought it in Canada.
Right.
But honestly, if I'm wanting a bowl of chili or a can of beans or a can of chili, I got to buy it anyway.
Yeah, if you want it, buy it. Like, it's better if you will put a ceiling of like 40 in Canadian dollars, 40 pesos to $1 Canadian dollar, or 50 pesos to $1 US dollars, because either it goes up and down. That's your ceiling. That's your
Yeah. You have to work within the budget, guys. I don't care whether you're going to live in West Virginia or Queensland or Belgium. You have to know the area that you're living in as to what your rents are going to be, right? So this is why in a lot of my videos, I do with my ticker, today it's the currencies, but in other times I do that relationship to the other currencies when we do sort of a breakdown of what it costs us to live per month.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, so that you get used to budgeting, so that you get used to what rents can be, then I work in pesos. Now, the main reason is I saw one of the vloggers the other day, $325 house. Who cares? It means absolutely nothing. because you are not paying in US dollars when you're there. You're paying
Right.
in pesos.
Yeah.
So that $325, all the currency has to do is move from 55 US to 50 US.
Mhm.
And it all changes.
That's right.
So I don't take too much into that. I think you need to start adjusting. Now, we will very shortly, when we get back, be redoing our budget because we've been holding to this 60,000 pesos a month for quite a while. And our lifestyles are about to change away from condo
Yeah. And
to a house.
so it'll be a
And
cheaper living, hopefully.
well, yeah, it'll be cheaper living. But interesting, guys, is that even though we had to live in a hotel for 6 months at 1,000 pesos a day, or
Yeah.
25 Canadian dollars or $20 US.
Yeah, we did for 2 years
Well,
going back and forth.
No, but I
like
mean,
that.
to build the house,
That's right.
6 weeks we were at a hotel, right? So
Oh yeah,
we were
that
not
one
spending
too.
the 60,000 pesos. We were on the property so much.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff that we were doing was house related. So that came out of the house budget. So when I redid the numbers, we were existing on about 40,000 pesos.
Yeah, because sometimes there's a week that we only spend 7,000 and then
Yeah. So,
and that includes our gas.
and that includes our gas. Yeah.
Our gas
So
is like
we,
3,000
we were spending like 40,000 pesos
for 2
a
weeks.
month for those. No, a
Oh,
month.
for food. Yeah.
And so that was about 1,000 Canadian,
Yeah.
or maybe 800, maybe $900 US, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But again, you have to think in pesos. You just do, because even if, like I mentioned earlier, even if you're in West Virginia, your rent is not going to be the same as New York City, and it's not going to be the same as Los Angeles, and it's not going to be the same as Portland, Oregon. It just won't, right? And if you live in Europe, of course, you're all over the place with the euro and different locations. Your food costs are going to be different, et cetera, et cetera. So again, when we talk in pesos, it's because you're going to go there.
Right.
And so now you need to get your mindset into the peso.
Yeah.
I think. But when we do our monthly updates, we will include all the currencies, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But in general, if I say, because right now I think you need, based on thresholds, you remember I always talk in terms of thresholds. The threshold is the number before your currency designation.
Mhm.
I always talk in terms of thresholds because then you can set a budget based on your threshold. Everything above the threshold, it gets saved.
Right.
It gets
It's
saved.
better. Yeah.
Because when it does go down to 47 US dollar,
Then you
you
will
will see 47 and you won't have enough money
Yeah.
to maintain that 60,000 pesos if you're not setting your budget based on a threshold. Okay.
Mhm.
I think it's important. Again, I referenced earlier, if you go to Paul Old Dog New Tricks, you will see he's been interviewing this guy for about 5 weeks now,
Mhm.
and they had to start saving up money in pesos to get a ticket, which is in dollars, to get him back to the US so that he could get his life back in order. And he's got 2 twin babies. So he's made some fundamental mistakes, and even in one of Paul's videos, he more than a few times told them, you guys made some critical mistakes.
Wow.
So yeah. Lynn hasn't seen these videos, but it is very enlightening. I would suggest you go over and look for Paul Old Dog New Tricks and have a look at his videos. Okay, guys, the ticker's been running.
Yeah.
Later, Gators. Oh, remember to like, subscribe.
And comment.
Later, Gators. Salamat.
Now I have to go back to my food. Thank you so much.